Agents are attacked just because the public is upset for whatever reason. We just happen to be at the front line, and we have no weapons. We have nothing to protect ourselves with. We have a radio that may or may not work, and we have a whistle. Some of us have whistles, and what good is a whistle? My name is Marilyn Fong, and I've been a station agent with BART for the last 17 years. I'm 65. I was working Civic Center Station at 5:30 in the afternoon for the PM commute.
And what happened to you that day?
I was relieved by another agent, and I was going to lunch. I saw that he had a long line. I decided to help my coworker, so I approached the line and asked if anyone needed help. And one of the girls said she needed change for her 20 so that she could add to her ticket. Rather than to crowd the booth, I decided to help my coworker by obtaining change for this passenger. She handed me her 20. I walked out and went to the machine to get change. And as I was retrieving the change, a hand reached over me from behind. I wasn't able to see who it was. So I instinctively pulled away thinking it was a homeless person. I pulled to my right and kind of, I guess the money was in my right hand. I turned, and the woman on my left pushed me into another woman on my right, and apparently they were together. And so the woman on the right was upset that I had bumped her and started with expletives and then swept my feet out from under me. I fell to the ground, and the initial girl who tried to snatch the money was coming down to punch me. And I was so fearful that they were going to slam my head on the marble that all I could think to do was to grab her jacket, collar, and her necklace so that, she didn't have the leverage to punch me, and I was using my hand to block her punches by holding her. And as she stood up, she pulled me up with her. And we stumbled back a few steps, and then the girl on the right swept my feet again. I came down the second time, almost in front of the booth, and yelling for help, but no one would come to my assistance that I could see. But the second time I was on the ground, all I could see were fists and feet coming at me. They were stomping on me, kicking me, and punching me. The janitor, I heard the janitor yelling, "Hey, stop it, stop this." And when the girls broke up, he realized it was me. He didn't know it was me that he was coming to aid. It was just someone in distress, and there was a commotion. And so when he realized it was me, he started to help me up, and I sat on the ground. I had to catch my composure, and I said, "Just give me a few minutes." And then I remembered that I had my phone in my pocket. I pulled it out, got up, took a picture of one of the girls, and then she came around again and tried to take my phone away, and I turned away from her. She pushed me from behind, and I went face forward, splat on the ground. And then the police were called. It took them a while to come. The police were called, and BART police came and took my statement, and I was then transported by an operations supervisor to the emergency room at St. Francis Hospital.
And what injuries did you suffer from this attack?
I've had 12 teeth worked on. I still have one more that needs to be worked on that I haven't gotten authorization for yet through workers' comp. I've had MRIs, x-rays, I've had cortisone, I've had a torn rotator cuff, I have 2 vertebrae that are just misaligned in my neck that has impacted the nerves. I've had shots to my head and my nerves. I have weakness in my entire left side. I've had spontaneous falling incidences like little strokes, mini strokes. I had an MRI 2 weeks ago, and it's been determined that I have vertebrae in my cervical that are misaligned. I just had an MRI last week for my thoracic because I've had bones misaligned in my neck and my spine, and they think there may be something going on in the middle as well.
How long ago did this happen?
This happened August 2011. It'll be almost 2 years this coming August. In 2 months, it'll be 2 years. And my health issues have not resolved. I'm on a reduced salary. It's been a financial hardship for me. I have family. I've lost service time, and
are you out on workers' comp leave?
I'm out on workers' comp leave, yes.
And do you make what you made when you were an
No.
active station agent?
No, I do not.
How much less do you make?
They 25% less my base salary, not including the differential and the overtime.
And have you tried to go back to work?
I did. I went back to work February of this year. I went back for 6 weeks, and because of the configuration of the booth in our workspace, it was necessary for me to lean into a microphone that we use to talk to the public. And since I'm short, I can't sit down and just talk to the public. I have to actually stand up and lean. And so I aggravated my neck, and it was inflamed. So I requested 2 weeks sick leave, using my own sick time. And so when I went out, I was told by the workers' comp carrier that I was not allowed to use my own sick time because I'm out as a result of the injury from the assault, and it's a workman's comp, so they put me out of workers' comp and will not allow me back to work until my doctor has cleared it. And at this point, he hasn't, because they can't make a final determination about my condition.
When you went back to work
Yes.
this year, did anyone from BART approach you to ask what accommodations you might need in order to be successful in your return to work after this assault?
No one.
No one.
No one. No supervisor, no one.
No one asked you if you were still in pain?
No one. Well, other than my coworkers, but not anyone representing BART.
And no one asked you if there was anything they could do to make the booth work for you, given that you had injured your neck?
No, no one.
And Marilyn, have you heard about what BART is proposing to require employees to contribute to their medical benefits?
I've heard a few things. I used to have a health plan that we had, but with the last negotiation, BART made it so expensive that I couldn't afford it, so I changed to a less expensive one. I needed the health plan because my husband is terminally ill, and we previously had an HMO that didn't work for us, and I was forced to switch to the more expensive one. But now they've priced it, the price point is so high, there's no way, given my current disability situation, my reduction in pay, that I could afford the plan. It's approximately $7,000 more than what I'm paying. And since I have a reduction in my salary because I'm on disability, I can't afford to pay $7,000 more. And what the district is proposing, is a pay cut. You've already cut me to 75% of my pay. You want to increase my co-payments, but you really, they're trying to dupe the public by saying we're giving them a 1% raise when in effect they're taking away 12%. And I think that the public, doesn't realize that it's a shell game, because BART always finds money at the end of every contract. And I think that, they're pretty much telling us, well, if your family member is sick, too bad, you still have to come to work. We're not going to give you the health plan, and too bad. I'd like to know what the board of directors get, or our administrators get. I mean, are they required to do the same thing that we are? Are we, we don't have a golden handshake like our ex-GM, who's still collecting salary and benefits. What we pay her is enough to pay 6 or 7 employees, and that just doesn't seem fair. We all work for the same company. Why don't we all have the same benefits?
Have you ever had to work alone at night in a BART station?
Oh, yes, most definitely. Most stations are staffed with one person closing, and we are required to sweep the station. By sweeping the station, I mean walk through the station to make sure that no one is left behind. There are no transients, nobody's locked. And if you think that a 10-car train is, or the length of the platform is equal to a football field. So in the downtown stations where you have 3 levels, if someone drops at the end of the night, you're closing the station by yourself. You're required to walk the station, and to make sure you don't lock anybody in. So you're walking at 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 football fields, 3 football fields by yourself, not knowing whether or not anyone is lurking there, not knowing if, someone's going to rob you, someone's going to beat you up, or whatever. And the radios that they've given us, there's dead spots in some stations you can't transmit, and half the radios don't work. There are many station agents out there who have radios that don't work, and I'm told that there are radios, there's a pallet full of radios in a warehouse, but they haven't been programmed by the engineering department. So the district knows that these radios are there and can be utilized, but they haven't coordinated their efforts to make it available for our safety. Now, BART police are not in the stations when we close. There are only a skeleton crew, maybe one officer to 2 or 3 stations. They don't sweep the trains for us. And there are train operators who are hurt sweeping the trains. You're waking up people from their sleep, trying to get them off, and they've been violent and have attacked train operators. Station agents are attacked just because the public is upset for whatever reason. We just happen to be at the front line, and we have no weapons. We have nothing to protect ourselves with. We have a radio that may or may not work, and we have a whistle. Some of us have whistles, and what good is a whistle?
We're coming back to work. What was your concern, and what did you ask management to say?
I was concerned about my own safety. I did not want to be in the dark, whether it be opening or closing, because I was afraid that these girls would come back to get me. I cannot recognize them in a crowd, but they can easily pick me out.
How many people were involved in attacking?
5 young ladies.
5?
5. And they came up from behind, so I had no inkling that they were behind me. And it was a false sense of security because it was 5:30 in the afternoon. The station was full of people. I did not have a confrontation or an argument with any of these girls. I was doing them a favor, getting them change, and just giving them that extra added customer service that BART would like for us to do. And I did, and they ambushed me, basically. And 5-on-1, I really didn't have a fighting chance. And I wasn't fighting back, I was more defending myself. Fearful for my job because I didn't know how they were going to spin my behavior. So all I was in a defensive mode, protective mode. The other thing is too, when I took a photograph of one of the young ladies, I gave it to BART police, and at the time the officer said to me, "Oh, we can enhance this and you know, do something with the photo." And I had asked the other agent that I worked with, I said, "You read her friend's ticket. What station did they come in from? Because they have to go back." Now, I would have thought that maybe BART police would have followed up on that and determined what station they came in and had been waiting for them when they come back. That didn't happen. Yeah, I was a little surprised that they were not able to pull any video or any film from the cameras that were supposedly on these machines. Now, the cameras, from what I understand, are trained on revenue machines and at the booth. Since this occurred at the machine and in front of the booth, I would assume that there were videos available. I was told, no, we didn't have any video of your assault at all, which was really surprising to me, given that they have videos about everything on everybody. But, you know, when they use it for I wouldn't say punitive, let's say a personnel action, a negative personnel action, they pull up footage. But when it's an injury and all of a sudden they have no footage,